Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, today I have the privilege to spend some time with farmer and seed grower Matt Kelly. A big round of applause.
Thank you.
Matt, welcome here. Now, in the spirit of farming, I wanted to bring out my one and only cowboy hat. What do you think? How do I look?
Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet.
It's all an act. I know very little about farming, but I have mad respect for the work that you do. Now, here's what I know about you, Matt. I know that you gave up a six-figure job for farming, and there are no financial guarantees when it comes to farming. And obviously, this chosen career can have a significant impact on one's mental health. So maybe to just start off, do you mind explaining how farming can take a toll on your mental health?
Sure. So yeah, I quit my job in the oil field there, working for a company called Pason Systems back in 2010 to join the farming community. But yeah, farming can take a toll big time on your mental health because there's a lot of things out of your control. The weather is one of the hugest players in the factor of farming. But also there were some other dynamics in there also. So, commodity prices are one there, but also family dynamics. I started to started farming with my father-in-law and my brother-in-law, who I didn't have any farming background with. I'd always farmed with my family on their family or on my family farm. So that added another dynamic piece of it, piece to the puzzle. Also, we were living in Regina at the time when I first started farming. So there's roughly 2.5 hours one way from the farm in Watrous to Regina. So that added to it too.
No doubt. And even with those financial strains, I know that eventually you began to really question who you were as a man. Growing up, you were taught what it meant to be a man, and how essentially were you able to break through some of those unhealthy stereotypes?
Well, yeah, or we're raised, or I was raised to, kind of, that strong farm work ethic is put your head down and grind it out. You just keep going, keep plugging along, and that's really worked well for me in the past. And I used to work quite a bit on my own, where I didn't have to answer to anybody else except for myself. And the dynamic of the farm, coming back to the farm, has changed, and we work in a team atmosphere. So having to work with teammates and get along there, that added a tremendous amount of pressure there, because I wanted to prove myself, and coming into a new farm and trying to make things successful, and having that stereotype of you got to be tough, you got to just keep your head down and keep going, and things will work out, and fall back on that strong work ethic. But what I found is that by doing that, by continuing on, not working in that team atmosphere, and relying on other people around me, trying to put my head down and manage that all by myself, I found that it just became overwhelming. When I would go home at night, I just couldn't step away from it. It was just weighing on my head big time, and not talking about anything, just kind of grinding it out, and doing that. Just it didn't work. The anxiety just continued on, and we were going through a real wet winter, or wet harvest time, sorry. And I couldn't take myself out of the job, right? I was living it, breathing it, eating it every single moment of every day, and not being able to find a healthy balance. I just couldn't do it. So yeah, that's when I finally started to reach out and talk, reach out to a mental health line, and actually talk to somebody other than just family members, because to break it away from the family, and it is a family problem, and having that ability to talk to family about it is important, but also get somebody else's perspective, different perspective really helped, and started to do very simple things and started to get back on track and, get back into a routine of good, healthy living, sleep and also taking yourself away from the job for a bit, and getting back into that cycle really helped.
Yeah, and I mean that's where I have so much respect for you that you were able to actually initiate that call and reach out for help. And oh man, I'm looking at myself. I look like a dork. I do not wear a hat well. I'm gonna put that away so I can focus here for the rest of the part. But I know that there are a lot of men who will watch this, and especially those who are maybe working on the farm or in agriculture. And I know that you shared that initially it was really hard for yourself as a man to ask for help. How was it for you to work through that process of asking, and how ultimately did it leave you feeling?
And I think at the start, raise your hand and ask for help. I was struggling to find the answer. Is what I was. I was relying on a lot of close family members to really, you know, leaned on them to give me that breakthrough of what I needed. But it, it was taking the plunge and phoning a mental health line. Actually, was where we really things started to move forward, and answers started to come, and I continue to work through it. Like, it's an ongoing thing, and everybody finds their own way. I did have to have a little bit of medication for a while there to get rid of some of the anxiety and actually get into a sleep routine. um, but relying on those simple tools, and also, pushing back that pride situation of actually phoning somebody and reaching out and actually seeking professional help really move things forward faster for myself. And then I think once I become more self-aware, I could really describe what I was going through, and then started to find some real tools, to get me swung, into the right direction. I still deal with it every day, but I have good coping mechanisms, and a good strong team around me that I can rely on to help me, and get into that balance, or get back into a balance, I guess is what I should say.
Yeah, and that team obviously also includes your wife, Leslie, the kids, and you talk openly about mental health and you have great communication. Now, there came a time, Matt, where both yourself and Leslie just sat down and you said, okay, enough with the silence. You both recognize that there are a lot of people in the agriculture sector who are struggling, and then you shot a video together. What ultimately led up to both yourself and Leslie saying, okay, let's just have an open conversation and see how it's received?
Well, yeah. So Leslie being on social media, and a lot of the discussions going around mental health, and yeah, we need to talk more about it. There was a lot of things that were brought forward that way. Um, mm, we kind of saw, a reflection on what we both were going through. We've seen the need to maybe, somebody maybe we thought we'd take the plunge and jump in and say, look at, okay, we'll normalize the conversation. We'll walk naked out in public is what it felt like, and have that difficult discussion and have an open discussion, and just kind of normalize the conversation and say, it's okay. That like, people go through struggles and ups and downs in life, and this is normal. This isn't we're normal everyday people. We're not. It's not a unique situation. Sometimes it is, but there's a way to go about it. So, and by having that open conversation, and Leslie actually had to nudge me in order to do it, because as you can tell, I'm not very photogenic, or not good at doing interviews.
You're
But
a beauty.
yeah, I look like a beauty. I have my COVID haircut and my beard. But anyways, yeah, I just not being worried about it. We were worried about the backlash, or by doing it, but there was so much good out of it, and it actually felt like therapy. Like, it felt good, because instead of suffering in silence, and just putting your head down and bearing it, and you know people, it was amazing what doors it opened up for, just common everyday conversation with people sending text messages, and it was unbelievable of how many people said, me too, me too. And not everybody's comfortable taking that, being out in public and saying that. So, but like I said, it's all been good, and it feels really nice to be able to, okay, say I've had a problem, but it's okay, we're in this together, right? By one person, maybe doing something out of the ordinary like what we did, I think it's helped. And like I said, it felt like therapy. Also, it felt like a weight off your shoulder, and you weren't living a lie essentially, or that you were hiding something. Yeah, it's fine.
That's one of the themes that continuously surfaced in the book through all my conversations with men as well. And it just makes sense that when we ourselves give ourselves permission to be vulnerable, in turn, it allows other people to do the same. And clearly that's what took place after that video surfaced. And I just have so much respect for yourself that you've been able to keep this conversation going. And obviously right now, Matt, with COVID-19, you're in the middle of seeding. It's just go, go, go. You mentioned that there's some strategies that have worked for you or tools in terms of wellness. Do you mind just sharing some of those?
Yeah, it's like, actually, there's just simple things that I've reverted back to. Like, I find just trying to maintain a proper sleep schedule. Like, before, I would just grind it out if I was tired and just say, okay, well, I'll get a few more acres done. That'll make us closer to the end. Instead of having that mentality, just look at it as a saying, okay, this is a journey, and we don't have to do everything today, and relax. Once I found like that, I would listen to myself and could let go of things, I would sleep, and that sleep was the one key thing that actually moved me forward. Oh, what else? Journaling. I'll sit if I've got a lot of things on my head and I can't sleep. I write them down on a piece of paper, and then I have the ability to say, okay, I've got them someplace. I don't have to continue running through that in my head. Exercise. I play hockey. I've core group of friends. It's hard right now with COVID, but just communicating, even text messages, and fun things. Just enjoy things, and yeah, just enjoy the moment. Like, take a breath, and it's not all about go go go. It's enjoy that moment. So.
And I also love, Matt, that you put family deliberately before work, right?
Yes, that's part of our mission statement with our farm that we have. Like, family trumps everything, finances everything, right? So if we have our family, that's number one. If we lose our family, what are we in this for, right? So that's a core belief of our whole group, of our family, or of our farm, and the people that work on our farm. So that's one key thing.
Awesome. Well, I know that you have a million things on the go. Your family's waiting for you. The crops are waiting to get planted. And I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to share your story, your experiences, and keep in touch, my friend. Thank you very much.
You bet. Thanks a lot, Alan. Thanks for the opportunity. You bet.
Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.